conflict in Israel and Gaza between Hamas has exploded in recent weeks. I'm exploring a scenario
Always with the scenarios.
today about if Israel feels like they're backed against the wall, the state of Israel is at risk, and they decide that they're going to launch a nuclear strike against Iran, which they perceive as backing both Hamas, Hezbollah, and other the Yemeni Houthi rebels and other entities. It's the world's worst kept secret. Israel has a nuclear triad force, it's believed. Nothing's known for sure, but as I show, there's here modeled sub-launched ballistic missiles. There are air-launched bombers utilizing the F-16I, and there's also some medium-range mobile launchers with the Jericho 3 missile. So, all in all, like I said, the total size of the Israeli nuclear force is not known exactly, but this is a reasonable approximation. And so in this attack, the modeling is it's mostly a counter-force strike. It's meant to reduce Iran's ability to supply these different rebel factions or these different opponents of Israel with military hardware. They are going to, it's a mix, and they're utilizing about 80% of their nuclear force. They're going to hold back some in case they feel like they're being overran to stop that. And it's a majority targeting of military sites with some civilian centers being hit as well. Obviously, between Iran and Israel, there is Iraq, there's Jordan, there's a lot of landmass between these two countries. The idea of Iran and Israel fighting directly is a very low probability. But Iran's been good about using proxy forces. Mileage may vary about the legitimacy, right or wrong, good or evil. Leave that to other people to debate that stuff. This is just to educate on what could happen potentially if this took place. And then after this scenario, we're going to run through an alternate scenario where there's some 30 bombs smuggled into Israel and 6 detonations take place. Population-wise, Iran's, roughly 9-10 times the size of Israel population-wise. So here you see you got some sub-launch stuff. You got the mobile launchers launching now. Their bombers, their F-16s are in flight. So the response time would be very low. It wouldn't take long for to travel. It's not like if Russia launched against the United States or China or vice versa, United States against Russia or China, you'd have anywhere from 25-30 minutes, at least for their land-based ICBMs. Here, much shorter distance to travel. You see some already detonations, not too far into the scenario. Again, the goal for Israel would be at this point to limit their military capacity. So, kind of sped things up a little bit here. Allow the bombers to come in to finish their strikes. So alternately too, if you're into DCS and flight simulation, I'm also running a DCS mission, custom mission I'm making, where it represents kind of an alternate kind of, get into that in a second, casualties. 8.7 million Iranian casualties. Azerbaijan, due to fallout and stuff, they got a significant amount of loss as well. There's a little bit in Iraq. and a few other states just due to some of that fallout residual. But Iran and Azerbaijan is the big ones hit. Population-wise, 8.7 million. Just to give a comparison, what would it be similar to the United States? So take this 8.7 million against the total population of Iran. Let's see here. Coincidentally enough, is 87 million and some change, so 8.7 million losses. So you're looking at roughly 10% of their population. It's not a small chunk of change. I mean, this would be a relatively limited nuclear strike compared to arsenals like the United States and Russia would have. To give a comparison, the United States, 331 million population-wise. That same amount of loss, I don't know what I'm calculating because it's pretty simple, 10%, 33 million. And some change. Some change when we're talking about human lives, but hey, what are you going to do? All right. So I'm going to run a little bit of different scenario. This is going to be the alternate. Israel gets hit with some smuggled in smart bombs. I put these at 1 kiloton yield, about the size of a Davy Crockett, the old school little handheld nuclear device the United States Army had back when they thought that the way to counteract the Soviets in case they wanted to invade Western Europe was to just start launching all these little mini nukes at them. Man, we were nuts. So 1 kiloton yield, 1 meter off the ground. And this is going to be 6 strikes, 3 of them in Tel Aviv, a couple in Jerusalem, 1 in Haifa. Apologies if I mispronounce too. Nah, I don't really care. We can kiss my ass if I don't pronounce it right. Tired of assholes talking about how I pronounce words. So there it is. I mean, these are, nuclear-wise, these would be very, very limited as far as the yield. You're talking 6 kiloton yield. That's less than even one of the bombs we dropped in Japan in World War II. 133,000 losses. And bouncing that against a population the size of Israel, just to give a comparison. So say this is, I know there's some comparisons to the recent attack about like their version of 9/11, but let's just use this as a version of 9/11 against a little over 9 million population. You're looking at almost 1.5% of their population. So 1.4%. So I'm going to round that off, round that down, and say, let's look at the United States now. So let's say a comparable percentage in the United States of losses due to a attack. So it's 331 million. Difference would be, again, don't need to do a calculator for this, but it's shown for visual representation, 3.3 million. 3.3 million losses. So you're talking September 11th times however much. So that's what we're looking at. Nuclear weapons can obviously dramatically change the game when it comes to their yield and destructive power. So again, it's not a ringing endorsement. It's just to educate, not eradicate. Know what nuclear weapons are, know what they can do, understand, and have a realistic expectation. There's a ton of these still out there, and nuclear brinkmanship is on the rise. So, everybody, have a great day. Be cheery, and hey, if it all gets launched and all goes green, it could be some fun times too. So, be a lot of no one to tell you when to go to bed at night.